The hidden forces shaping your life. You walk through life believing that you are in full control of your destiny, but in truth, you are being moved by forces far deeper, far older, and far more powerful than your conscious mind could ever imagine. These forces shape your decisions, your desires, your fears, and your relationships. They are not unique to you. They are universal, shared by all of humanity. Carl Jung's words echo in the depths of your soul. We are not what we think we are, but what we have come to be. What you have come to be is not just a result of your choices, but a product of the archetypes that live within you. Archetypes are not mere concepts. They are the unconscious, primal patterns that reside in the deepest corners of your psyche. They are the ancient forces that have guided human behavior for millennia, silently shaping who you are, often without your awareness. The warrior, the lover, the caregiver, the rebel. These are not just labels, but the very energies that have moved through generations. They are the timeless roles that all humans play, whether they recognize it or not. And these archetypes do not come gently. They force their way into your life through the choices you make, the people you attract, and the conflicts you face. The hero's journey, for instance, is not simply a path of external achievement. It is a blueprint for inner transformation. To refuse the call to adventure is to deny the very purpose of your existence. To face the shadow is to confront the darkness within, to stop running from what you have feared the most. The truth is, these archetypes are not just external influences. They are the pulse of your deepest self, and until you recognize them, they will continue to shape you from the shadows, pulling you along a path you never consciously chose. To awaken to them is to awaken to the raw, untamed forces that drive your life. What are archetypes? Unveiling the universal patterns. Archetypes are not just mere symbols or concepts. They are the primal forces of your unconscious, the very blueprint of your psyche. They are the ancient universal patterns that dictate the roles we play, the decisions we make, and the stories we live. These patterns are not born of culture or society. They are inherited from the depths of our shared human experience, passed down through generations. They are embedded in the very fabric of our being, influencing us in ways we rarely understand. As Carl Jung so powerfully stated, the unconscious is not just a repository of personal experiences, it is the source of universal symbols. Archetypes are not new to you. They have always been there, lurking in the shadows of your mind, waiting to emerge when the time is right. They are the forces that define who you are in your essence: the hero, the rebel, the caregiver, the victim. These are not just roles you play in the world, but parts of your inner truth, the aspects of yourself that are born from the collective unconscious. These archetypes, while seemingly timeless, are constantly reshaped by your experiences, yet they remain eternal in their core. But this recognition of archetypes comes with a dark revelation. These forces shape you far more than you realize. The hero's path is not an easy one. It is filled with chaos, fear, and sacrifice. The shadow constantly lurks, waiting for you to face the darkness within. The Anima and Animus, the feminine and masculine energies within you, are in a constant battle for balance. You are not simply an individual making decisions in a vacuum. You are part of a larger, uncontrollable pattern of forces that have been at play long before your birth. Archetypes are the undercurrent of your existence. They define your path, often in ways that are beyond your conscious awareness. To understand them is to unlock the hidden forces driving your every move, pushing you towards transformation or towards destruction. Recognizing them is the first step toward reclaiming your true self, but it is also the most terrifying. You will never be the same once you truly see them. The collective unconscious, where archetypes reside. The collective unconscious is not just a concept. It is the silent, invisible realm that governs your deepest impulses and unspoken desires. It is the dark, primal well of the human experience, the place where archetypes, the universal patterns of existence, take root. These archetypes are not born from individual experience, but from the shared history of all humanity, reaching far beyond the confines of time and culture. Carl Jung spoke of it as the part of the unconscious that is common to all individuals, and that contains the whole spiritual heritage of mankind's evolution, born anew in the brain structure of every individual. Imagine this collective unconscious as a vast, shadowy ocean, a place where every human being has ever existed, every emotion ever felt, every truth ever uncovered, and every lie ever told. You, in your waking life, may feel like a singular individual navigating your personal journey, but underneath that illusion, you are merely a thread in the vast tapestry of human existence. Every thought, every action, every fear you experience has been felt before and will be felt again, as long as the human race endures. The archetypes within this unconscious are not passive. They drive you, often without your consent. You might think you're acting out of free will, but in truth, you are responding to the ancient pull of these universal patterns. The hero doesn't just appear in the stories of old. He rises within you when you face your own challenges, your own battle with fear and transformation. The shadow doesn't just lurk in the pages of myth, it lives in the darkest corners of your soul, waiting for the right moment to manifest. To understand the collective unconscious is to understand that you are never truly alone in your struggles, your desires, your pain. The shadows that haunt you have haunted every human who has walked this earth. You are part of a larger, darker pattern, and only when you awaken to this will you begin to see the true depth of your soul's journey. You can run from it, but the collective unconscious will always find you. The hero's journey, a blueprint for transformation. The hero's journey is not a fairy tale. It is not a simple story of adventure and triumph. It is a raw, unflinching path through the darkest corners of your soul. A journey that will tear you apart and rebuild you into something unrecognizable. It is a blueprint for transformation, but not the kind of transformation that is comfortable or easy. It is the kind of transformation that requires you to face the parts of yourself you have spent your whole life running from. Carl Jung understood this well when he said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." The hero's journey begins with a call that you cannot ignore, no matter how hard you try. It beckons from the depths of your unconscious, demanding that you step away from the life you know, the life you've built to hide from your deepest fears. This is the moment of the threshold, the point at which you leave behind the known world and enter the unknown. But you do not enter alone. You enter with your shadow, the repressed, rejected parts of yourself that have been waiting in the dark for this moment. They are not your enemies, they are your truth. The journey takes you through trials and tribulations, each challenge designed to break you down. You will confront your darkest self. You will face betrayal, loss, and agony. But these are not punishments. They are the painful rites of passage that strip away the false layers you've created to protect yourself. Only when you shed these layers can you discover the real you, the authentic self that has been buried beneath the facade. The hero's journey is not about victory over external force. It is about victory over your own internal limitations. It is about walking into the fire and coming out reborn, understanding that true transformation comes from embracing the darkness, not running from it. Only when you face your shadow, when you stop hiding from your pain, will you emerge as the hero of your own life. The journey is brutal, it is painful, but it is the only path to your true self. The shadow. Embracing your darkest self. The shadow is the part of you that you refuse to acknowledge, the part that you've hidden deep within yourself because it terrifies you. It is the face of your deepest fears, your darkest desires, and your raw, unfiltered emotions. It is everything you have rejected, everything you deem unworthy of the light. And yet, it is the very core of who you are. The part of your psyche that holds the key to your ultimate transformation. Carl Jung said, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." To face the shadow is to confront the terrifying reality that all you have been avoiding is not external, but internal. It is you. You run from the shadow because it is uncomfortable, because it reflects everything you fear about yourself, your anger, your jealousy, your self-loathing, your weakness. These are not just flaws. They are pieces of your soul that you have ignored for too long, pieces that demand attention. But when you refuse to look at them, they don't vanish. They fester. They grow in the darkness, silently controlling your actions, your choices, your relationships, until one day they force you to face them. The moment you choose to embrace your shadow is the moment you begin to reclaim your power. It will not be easy. The darkness will not relent. But there is freedom in it. In accepting the parts of you that scare you, you begin to see them for what they truly are. Not flaws to be condemned, but aspects of yourself that need love, integration, and understanding. The shadow is not your enemy. It is your mirror, reflecting everything you've been unwilling to confront. To embrace it is to walk the path of self-acceptance, to transcend the illusion of perfection, and to become whole. Only by embracing your shadow can you truly become the person you were always meant to be. The Anima and Animus, the dance of the feminine and masculine within the depths of every soul, lies a hidden yet essential dance. The dance between the feminine and the masculine. These forces, known as the Anima and Animus in Jungian psychology, are the unconscious counterparts to our conscious gender identity. They are not just aspects of ourselves, but primal energies that shape our thoughts, actions, and relationships. The anima represents the feminine qualities within a man, while the animus embodies the masculine qualities within a woman. These energies are not separate from us. They are the forces that define our very essence, waiting to be awakened. As Carl Jung wrote, the anima is the personification of the unconscious in the form of a woman. The animus is the personification of the unconscious in the form of a man. The anima and animus are not simply stereotypes of femininity and masculinity. They are the archetypal energies that influence how we relate to ourselves and the world. For a man, the anima can take the form of inner emotional depth, creativity, intuition, and sensitivity. Qualities he may dismiss or repress because they do not align with his external persona. For a woman, the animus represents rationality, assertiveness, and inner strength, the masculine aspects that society may encourage her to suppress in favor of softness and compliance. This dance, however, is not always harmonious. For many, the anima and animus are not integrated but remain shadowy, distorting our perceptions of ourselves and others. The anima can manifest as projection onto women, idealizing them in ways that prevent real connection. The animus, when unintegrated, turns into a source of aggression or authoritarianism within a woman. To truly become whole, one must confront and reconcile these inner figures, not to suppress them, but to honor them, to let them dance in balance. It is only through this dance, this fusion of opposites, that the soul can transcend the limitations imposed by a fractured self and become fully integrated, fully alive. When we embrace this dance within ourselves, when we allow the anima and animus to intertwine with grace, we no longer live in opposition to ourselves. We become whole, and in that wholeness, we find our true power. The wise old man/woman. The guide to inner wisdom. Deep within the labyrinth of your psyche, there exists a guide, an ancient figure who has seen beyond the surface of things, who understands the very essence of existence. This figure is the wise old man or woman, the archetype of inner wisdom that transcends time and experience. They are not bound by the constraints of age or circumstance. They are timeless, eternal, a beacon of knowledge and understanding. But to encounter this guide is not without its challenges. They are not simply there to comfort you or offer you easy answers. They are there to provoke, to push you toward the depths of your own soul, to face the things you fear the most. Carl Jung said, The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed. The wise old man or woman represents that part of you that knows the truth about your potential, your darkness, your purpose. They are the voice that whispers in your ear when you are lost, the knowing that rises from the depths of your unconscious when you confront suffering, failure, or confusion. But this wisdom does not come in the form of comforting platitudes. It is brutal, raw, and unapologetic. The wise old man or woman knows that the path to growth is through pain, through loss, through the shedding of illusions. They will not rescue you from your struggles. Instead, they will guide you through them, teaching you that the wisdom you seek is not something external, but something already within you. To meet the wise old man or woman is to confront your own inner authority, to trust that the wisdom you need is already within you, waiting to emerge. But first, you must be willing to surrender your illusions of control and comfort. Only then will you begin the process of transformation. Only then will you be able to hear the quiet, powerful voice of your own deepest knowing. The self, the ultimate expression of wholeness. The self is not just the culmination of your individual journey. It is the totality of your existence, the integration of every fragment, every shadow, every light within you. It is the deepest expression of your soul's potential, a state of wholeness that transcends the fragmented identity you often cling to. The self is both the seeker and the sought, the destination and the path. It is not the idealized version of you that you strive toward, but the true, raw, authentic expression of who you are when all masks are stripped away. Carl Jung profoundly stated, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." The journey to the self is not a gentle walk through soft meadows. It is a brutal, grueling confrontation with everything you have suppressed, denied, or avoided. The self exists beyond the illusions you've constructed for survival, beyond your persona, your ego, your roles. To find it, you must be willing to enter the abyss of your unconscious, where your greatest fears and repressed desires reside. The shadow will rise, and with it, all the aspects of yourself you have tried so hard to bury. The self demands that you embrace them all, the darkness, the light, the contradictions. But the terror of facing yourself is where the transformation begins. When you finally stop running from the parts of yourself that scare you, when you accept them with compassion and without judgment, you begin to experience the integration that leads to true wholeness. This is the power of the self, the ultimate expression of unity within you. It is not a destination that you arrive at once and for all. It is a continual process of embracing all aspects of your being, of accepting every part of your psyche as essential, as integral to your true essence. The self does not exist outside of you. It is who you have always been, hidden beneath the layers of fear and denial. When you step into its truth, you become more than you ever thought possible. You become complete. The self, the ultimate expression of wholeness. The self is not just the culmination of your individual journey. It is the totality of your existence, the integration of every fragment, every shadow, every light within you. It is the deepest expression of your soul's potential, a state of wholeness that transcends the fragmented identity you often cling to. The self is both the seeker and the sought, the destination and the path. It is not the idealized version of you that you strive toward, but the true, raw, authentic expression of who you are when all masks are stripped away. Carl Jung profoundly stated, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are." The journey to the self is not a gentle walk through soft meadows. It is a brutal, grueling confrontation with everything you have suppressed, denied, or avoided. The self exists beyond the illusions you've constructed for survival, beyond your persona, your ego, your roles. To find it, you must be willing to enter the abyss of your unconscious, where your greatest fears and repressed desires reside. The shadow will rise, and with it, all the aspects of yourself you have tried so hard to bury. The self demands that you embrace them all, the darkness, the light, the contradictions. But the terror of facing yourself is where the transformation begins. When you finally stop running from the parts of yourself that scare you, when you accept them with compassion and without judgment, you begin to experience the integration that leads to true wholeness. This is the power of the self, the ultimate expression of unity within you. It is not a destination that you arrive at once and for all. It is a continual process of embracing all aspects of your being, of accepting every part of your psyche as essential, as integral to your true essence. The self does not exist outside of you. It is who you have always been, hidden beneath the layers of fear and denial. When you step into its truth, you become more than you ever thought possible. You become complete. Archetypes in modern life, how they shape your identity. Archetypes are not mere relics of ancient myths. They are living, breathing forces that shape your very existence, deeply embedded in the unconscious fabric of your psyche. These primal patterns govern the way you see yourself, how you interact with others, and how you navigate your world. You might think of yourself as an individual, distinct and separate from others, but the truth is far darker and more profound. Your identity is not solely your own. It is a reflection of the archetypal forces that have guided humanity for eons. As Carl Jung said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. Accepting yourself means acknowledging that these universal forces, the archetypes, reside within you, waiting to be expressed, for better or worse. Take a moment to think about the roles you play in life. The warrior, the lover, the magician, the caregiver. These are not just labels. They are archetypal energies that shape the core of your identity. You are not merely you. You are the hero, the rebel, the victim, the ruler. These universal roles that manifest through your choices, your desires, and your fears. Each archetype carries both light and dark energy, and to ignore or suppress them is to allow them to control you from the shadows. But when you become aware of these forces, when you acknowledge them as part of you, you gain power. You see the roles you've unconsciously adopted, the masks you've worn for survival. You realize how they shape your relationships, your career, and your perception of yourself. The hero's journey that you seek, it's not just a fantasy. It's the manifestation of your inner battle, your fight against the forces of your own psyche. The struggle of modern life is not just external, it's internal. You are caught in a battle of archetypal forces, struggling to align your conscious self with the unconscious patterns that govern you. Recognizing these patterns is the first step toward reclaiming your true power, a step toward becoming whole. Only then can you transcend the roles that bind you and discover the authentic expression of your being, integrating the archetypes to awaken your true self. To truly awaken your soul, you must first confront the raw, untamed forces that have shaped you without your knowledge. The archetypes, those deep, primal patterns that reside in your unconscious, are not just abstract concepts. They are the building blocks of your identity, shaping everything you believe, desire, and fear. The truth is, you are not simply a passive observer of these forces. You are their creation, and they are yours. As Carl Jung profoundly said, the most terrifying thing is to accept oneself completely. And the most terrifying part of that acceptance is recognizing that you are not as singular, as unique as you've always imagined. You are the sum of these archetypal forces, both light and shadow. To awaken to your true self is not a romantic journey of self-discovery. It is an intense, painful reckoning with the roles and masks you've worn to survive. The hero, the victim, the caregiver, the rebel. These are not just roles you have played. They are who you have been. But in embracing them, in integrating them into your conscious life, you reclaim your power. To integrate the archetypes is to dissolve the boundaries between the unconscious and conscious mind, to let your true self rise from the depths where it has been suppressed by the lies and illusions of your persona. When you embrace these forces, you stop being a prisoner of your past. You stop being defined by roles and expectations, and begin to live as the whole, unbroken person you were always meant to be. Integration is the ultimate alchemy, turning the base materials of your fragmented self into the gold of your true identity. The journey is not easy, but it is necessary. Only by embracing the fullness of your being can you transcend the limitations that have kept you trapped for so long. The archetypes are not your enemies. They are the keys to your awakening. When you finally integrate them, you awaken the truest version of yourself, and only then can you live with true freedom and purpose.